everyone. Welcome to International Hospitality Day. I'm Deborah Gardner. Thank you so much for continuing to watch this special day with all the students, colleges, universities watching and listening in. I'm Deborah Gardner, your host for this spectacular IHSD24 virtual event by Grand Valley State University Hospitality and Tourism Management Program from beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan. And again, we're absolutely thrilled to have high schoolers, college students, universities, anyone that's interested in the wonderful world of hospitality and tourism, welcome from around the world. Now, get ready to ring in some fun as we explore the world of concierge service. I mean, picture a service bell that never stops chiming with exciting requests and top-notch solutions. That's the thrilling life of a concierge. And today, joining us is my good friend, Sara-ann Kasner, that is actually the CEO and founder of the National Concierge Association. Now, are you curious to learn more? Well, you're about to uncover one of the best kept secrets in hospitality and tourism and see how these everyday heroes create magic with every request to find solutions for everyone. So stick around. You're going to be able to really capture something new and different in the hospitality and tourism world. Well, happy International Hospitality Student Day 24, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us, Sara-ann.
You know, Deborah, it is always a pleasure to join you for anything, just to listen to you, and definitely a privilege to be on your show. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're definitely a favorite. You've been on the show before. You know how this all works. And there's nothing more that I can say about NCA because you truly are a legend when it comes to concierge. And you're not only the CEO and founder of NCA, National Concierge Association, but you have 32 plus years as a corporate concierge to the owner of Concierge Services by Sara-ann. Running an association and business, you're a busy lady. I mean, from firsthand experience, I can say your annual conferences are spectacular too.
Well, it was a pleasure having you as a speaker at our annual conference. And thank you for the plug for my own services. That's always lovely.
Oh, absolutely. That's where you got the experience. And that's what students from around the world want to know about. Because, again, I believe this is the best kept secret. If people knew about how concierge works and how it's operated, I think you're going to get a flood of people contacting you. So let's start with what exactly is concierge? What is the role, and what's the difference between that and being a receptionist? Because sometimes people get that a little mixed up.
No, they don't.
Oh, they better not. They better not.
No, you know, there's nothing like working in the service industry. First of all, I do want to say that, concierge are born, they're not made. And so the fact is, what does a concierge do? How does a person get to be a concierge? What is it all about? Concierge isn't one thing or another. It's anything from antiques to zoo, A to Z. I never know from day to day what the request is going to be, whether it is indeed antiques and somebody wants to find them. And by the way, the best place to go for that in Minnesota, where I'm currently located, is Stillwater. It's a town, very old town. It's a birthplace in Minnesota. And so, if you were looking for antiques, that's where you would go. by the same request, if you're looking for a zoo, the Minnesota Zoo is out here and it's absolutely spectacular. The whole thing about being a concierge is just that. It is that you don't know what kind of request is going to come your way. So you could be working in, let's say, the hotel field. They started it several hundred years ago. The word concierge is French for keeper of the keys. So you often see the key as a symbol of our profession. A couple hundred years ago, the concierge in French royalty was the individual who probably got the robes, started the fires in the room for royalty. Who knows what services they really provided. The thing about it is that they were of service, and that tradition of service has carried over into fine hotels for a very long time, a couple hundred years actually. And then about 30 years ago, corporate America got on that bandwagon. They said, we want to lease properties. We want our tenant properties to be satisfied with their leases, with being in our Class A office towers and so forth. And so they decided that they should treat their tenants like a guest in a fine hotel and employ corporate concierge. So they got on the wagon. Well, it spread across the USA rather quickly back then. I've been in the field for 32 years. And way back when I was hired as a corporate concierge, I couldn't even pronounce the title. So when I went for my interview, I said, well, what's my job description going to be? And they said, we're not sure because this is such a new thing for a corporate concierge. Go see what the hotel concierge are doing. And let's see how we can translate that into the corporate arena. Well, I found out in a hurry that my tenants love me being there for them to provide a personal service. Maybe it was they were in the middle of a meeting and they just spilled ink on their favorite shirt. And so they were speaking to some new clients or something and they needed a new shirt. So I've run out to department stores and bought a shirt for them and came back with the shirt so that they could go into their very important meeting. Let's say that they wanted to do something on Friday night and they wanted to celebrate something special like an anniversary or so forth. Because of my connections, and we'll get to that in just a moment, in the concierge field, knowledge is power. And to be a concierge means that you've got the inside track on just about everything that you could possibly have. As I said initially, everything from A to Z. I'm very excited that we are speaking to students in high school and colleges about the hospitality field, and in particular, the concierge field, because anyone with a curiosity about where things are and how things work can become a concierge and be good at it. It just plain is a field that's wide open. And are young people getting into it? Well, that's too exciting for words.
Well, I love the history, and I love the fact that corporate America and hotels have embraced the concierge mentality and business. What other types of services are out there that concierge is involved in?
Right. Well, we in the National Concierge Association, for instance, we represent not just the hotel and the corporate arena, which, as I mentioned, are all about Class A office towers, but high-end residential, civic, academic. For instance, Loyola University in Chicago has Judy Senvold, who is their director of concierge services there. And so there is that. The medical field is one of the industries that got on the bandwagon only about 10 years ago, but very necessary. The Children's Medical Center, for instance, in Washington, D.C., has traditionally had a concierge service that took care of all the families coming in and made arrangements for families with very sick children to get out of those circumstances for a while, for group outings and all kinds of jazzy things, from hotel rooms to restaurant reservations to all the traditional services, spa services, you name it. The sky is the limit. So it's one of those fields that very exciting, because you just absolutely get into every last facet of daily life and then some.
Yeah, you really do. You really do. The mentality, just being at your conference for the second time, I mean, the energy in that room and the mentality is they have so much passion to serving others.
Well, that is the thing that we all of us in the service industry at this level, you understand that concierge services, the mentality is all about providing a stellar level of service. You ever gone into, for instance, I'm going to pick on them for just a moment here, and I mean this kindly, but have you ever gone into a department store and you walk up to, well, I'm a woman, so makeup counter or, jewelry counter or something where, maybe you're not having such a great day, and you walk up to the counter and there is a person behind that counter and they go, "Hi, how are you?" They're greeting you like an old friend.
Right.
Okay, that really says volumes about the individual. It says volumes about how they care about their services, and it says volumes about the basics of concierge service, which is can do. And if I don't know how to do it, I'll find you the answer one way or the other. But we are going to have a relationship with each other that's meaningful, whether it's for 5 minutes or 5 years.
Right.
Because many of the relationships that I have go back almost 30 years. Because people come back again and again for that level of knowledge, for that personal touch, for that relationship factor in business that just makes all the difference in the world.
It really
As
does.
opposed to that, a good example would be where you walk up to an individual and you expect something from them, right? They're behind a service counter, so you expect something from them and you get dead air. I hate that. I hate that. And I never fail to tell them, you're talking to the founder of the National Concierge Association, so I guess, we could improve the service here just a bit.
Oh, you hit it on the nail there. I mean, when I walk up to a makeup counter and they don't even acknowledge me, it's like, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to have, I need some help, and they don't even acknowledge you. That's just...
Well, for a visitor from out of town walking up to a concierge desk in a hotel, they can, I don't know at any time that a person would actually say, I got bad service from a concierge. We pride ourselves. And you mentioned the word passion. That is prevalent in our occupation. We are absolutely the most enthusiastic people about service and giving service. My biggest thing every day when I get out of bed and I answer the phone, or a lot of my services are virtual now because I do work out of my home, is that if I can make somebody happy, that's my life. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
And I'm not unique. Every concierge everywhere feels exactly the way I do. The energy level is there, yes. The enthusiasm is there. It's just a marvelous thing. To hang out with these people is just a lot of fun. because we also have a lot of fun at what we do.
It is, and you're doing such a great job with the association. It's growing. The chapters are growing. They're starting to build in other states, statewide. So any student can go to a concierge chapter meeting to find, just from your website, to find out more.
Oh, yeah, we would love that.
Yeah.
We would love that. Absolutely. If if the student is in a city where we have a chapter, we'd love to have them come and visit us as a guest.
Absolutely.
Tell them to reach out to us. Reach out to me. I'll make sure that I align them with a concierge professional.
Sure, absolutely. Now, one question that's going to be on students' minds is, but do you make good money?
Well, it depends on where you are. It's like anything that you do, okay? If you, if you're working in one phase of the industry or another, it just kind of depends on what you're putting into it. To make good money at it, you have to be good at it, right? So the way to really look at this is that if you're a student just starting out and you're saying, okay, I really do want to start at a base level and work my way up into the hospitality industry, perhaps in another area. A good place to start is the concierge field in a hotel. Mm-hmm. Now, starting out, they may not earn as much money as those who have made it their profession and are in it for a while. But honestly, there is money to be made. Trust from me, there's money to be made in this field.
And if any students love to challenge themselves, I would challenge to just, even going above and beyond that and see how many tips you can get.
When it comes to tips, I'm glad you brought that up, because concierge are not looking for the tip. All right. In our world, there's a phrase that used to be around. I don't know if it still is with the hotel. Since I don't work in the hotel field, I can't tell you for sure, but I know for a fact that every concierge is in it because of their passion to be of service for others and not what they themselves are going to get back. They're not giving you the best restaurant according to their recommendation. They're not giving you the best advice or where to go on a tour or anything else because they're getting a commission or a kickback in any way, or they're expecting a nice gratuity. I mean, it's always great, but a thank you note to the concierge that they can share with their employer is almost more important than the gratuity.
That's great. And that's the hospitality tourism industry as a whole, making people happy from the heart. It really does make a difference in what you do for a living.
Absolutely.
I mean, being a concierge, by the time you get home, you feel so good about what you've been able to accomplish for people. It really is a good feel to the
let me comment a moment. We were talking about salary. Let me talk about some of the bennies that you get, some of the benefits. Okay. Being a concierge, one of the things that I learned almost immediately is that if I was going to succeed in this industry, this new job that I've taken of corporate concierge, there's a lot of expected here. When somebody walks up, they want immediate answers. They want accurate information. They want the truth, just flat out the truth. Okay, I can't possibly be in two places at one time. It's all about connections. It's all about my knowledge, as I said initially. So part of what I discovered is that if I was going to succeed, for instance, here in Minneapolis, and my very first job was at a place called the Piper Jaffray Tower, which is now the Campbell Methuen. And it is right in the middle of our skyway system, which is a thing of beauty, by the way, because in our 30 to 40 degree below zero wind chill in the winter, January, it's nice to be inside and be able to walk over 5 miles of indoor trails to anything that you want to do in downtown Minneapolis. So it's a great place to be. My desk was in a very public area, and I thought, over and over, I'd get visitors stopping by the desk saying, where can I get to? And, how do I find? I walked those skyways looking for things. And along the way, I met restaurateurs. I made friends with the theater. I realized that if I was going to succeed at this new job that I had to know where everything is and how to get front row seats to a popular play, how to get, you know, a bus pass, how to get, into a restaurant on a busy Friday night or a Saturday night. And so I was going to have to be good friends with those people. And the benefits were, when I formed those business relationships, the benefits were considerable. We call it concierge land. And in concierge land, it means we get invited to restaurant openings. We get invited to the theater. We get the firsthand knowledge of just about everything there is to know in our own cities, and sometimes out of our cities, sometimes in other states. So when you're talking about salary and benefits of being a concierge professional, there's a lot of exciting things that come your way once you build those relationships. And that's the key, relationships.
That makes a lot of sense, which makes me, if I was a student, it's like, oh my gosh, those benefits would outweigh any other sector of the industry. I would definitely enjoy experiencing right in my backyard, or when I'm traveling, to contact another concierge within the network to see what their city is all about. It's all about building knowledge and bringing it back to your clientele, for sure. So I'm wondering if a student would love to tap into the concierge world, what kind of resources would you suggest for them? Any advice, any tips, as if you were in their shoes?
Well, one thing they can do is consider mentoring with a concierge professional. And there are many of us around who will take the time to do just that. So first things first, contact the National Concierge Association, and we'll do our best to pair you with an individual, depending on what area of the hospitality industry you want to be in, but we've got them all. So, we can accommodate that. The other thing is that there are some books around for concierge. One of them that I initially, and I had to dig down into my little archives here in my library, personal library, to find it again. But one of the books that I read when I first got started being a concierge is a book called Ultimate Service. I'm going to hold it up here. Ultimate Service. There we go.
Ultimate Service.
Ultimate Service.
Okay.
It's written by a lady by the name of Holly Steele. Now, Holly Steele and I know each other. I've had her as a speaker at our conferences. Holly Steele is she's kind of a celebrity in concierge world because she had, in the past, she was a hotel concierge in California. But Holly has written several books on being a concierge, and I recommend this Ultimate Service if you're going into the hotel industry. It does not address corporate concierge except for just a few pages, but it's a good start because it'll give you an idea of, when I mention the concierge mentality, it'll give you a good idea of what that's about. It'll tell you about how to handle such things as problematic people because everybody in the service industry has them. Sooner or later you have a challenge, and how you handle that. It's all about service with a smile, and Holly calls it a thank you very much business, because 9 times out of 10 that's exactly what you're going to get from others is thank you for the service. The one thing that she stresses in her book that I really took to heart, and that students who are interested in getting into the field, is that you're not going. When someone comes up and they say, I need dinner reservations, or I'd like to know the best tour group, or we'd like to spend a weekend, like for instance, here in Minnesota, A lot of times people want to go to the North Shore, which is up by Duluth on Lake Superior, one of the Great Lakes. It's a beautiful area. When you're up there, you swear you're right by the ocean because it's such scenic area.
Wow.
Popular, very popular. And people want to know more about that. And if you can have the inside track on that, definitely. But keep in mind, you're not going. But if you were, how would you like to be treated? What would you like to experience? What would you like to do? What experiences can you draw from your own life that will translate into your guest or client having a wow experience? What's happened to you in your life? Now, when you're young, don't discount the fact that, well, maybe you haven't been to Europe yet. Maybe you didn't take Mexico vacations. Maybe you haven't been to the North Shore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you have friends and relatives and other people that you know. And so networking is just key to your success. You have to do that. You have to say, I've never been there. However, a friend of mine went there and had a really good time. And by the way, if you're going to the North Shore in Duluth, a little tip for you and for anybody listening to this broadcast might be that they want to go to Madeline Island. It's offshore. It's in the Apostle Islands, off the shore of Lake Superior, and wonderful. Just a historic place where you can rent a moped and go all over the island, or a horseback ride, or you can stay in a villa in the forest there, or you can be right on the shore and eat in their lovely restaurants. So just little inside tips. How did I find out about that? Well, to tell you the truth, my sister used to be a flight attendant. I hesitated because she's passed on. But when she was with us, she was a flight attendant for Northwest Airlines, which goes with that. But she had been all over the world, and one of her favorite places was Madeline Island. And I said, okay, I got to experience that for myself. So of course I went there and experienced it and was able to tell everybody about it. But at the time I didn't know. And so I called my sister and said, how was it? Please tell me. I have somebody inquiring about it.
It sounds like every sector of the hospitality industry needs to belong to National Concierge Association, because that looks like this is the area of all the knowledge, the wisdom, and the connection. And
correct.
Again, that's what your association's all about. So that
at one point I can remember when we created the National Concierge Association, which goes back 26 years now, we've been in existence. But I can immediately, it was created by myself because my clients were moving across the country, either on business or recreationally, but they were going across country. And I needed things like a recommendation for a bed and breakfast in downtown Denver, or tickets to a Broadway show in New York City, or a very good restaurant in San Francisco. I've done all of those things because of connections, because of networking.
Right. That's the key. That's the key. Well, you are certainly rocking the blue today for Grand Valley State University, as a matter of fact.
Yes, indeed, I am.
We're going to end this with, in a nutshell, because they're going to want to know, what does International Hospitality Students Day mean to you?
Anytime we can draw attention to the fine work of our people in the hospitality industry, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there. This is my lifelong career, by the way. When I became a concierge, I fell in love with the work that I do. And anytime you can fall in love with what you do, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and it's addictive. So once you get into NCA, You're not going to want to look back. And so thank you so much for all this great information.
Oh, thank you.
The students are going to want to contact you. So we're going to put your contact information up here, which happens to be your email. Is there any other social media, anybody at the association?
We are on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook, on LinkedIn. We're on YouTube, Instagram.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
And go to our website.
Yep.
It is, as it says down there, it's ncak.org, and all kind of information there as well.
And I'd love the fact that students can just pop on into one of the chapters around the U.S. in particular and check into it and look into it, and we'd have open arms to it as well. So
we are here. We are here for the students at Grand Valley State University and students everywhere.
Fantastic.
Contact us. We'd love to talk to you.
Yes, I agree. Well, thank you, Sara-ann. This was fantastic. Appreciate you tremendously.
Oh, love it.
You again, and we look forward to the students contacting you today. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Deborah.
Bye-bye.
Okay.